So let's make sure that when we click log in the auth page, we do actually log in, or at least we fake it. So in the auth.js file in user pages, I will import use context. And of course, I will also import my auth context here from the shared folder, the context folder, and the auth context file. And then here in the auth page, we can also get access to this auth object by calling use context on the auth context. We can use this auth object and the login method we have there inside of our submit handler. There, besides logging what the user entered, I will call auth login like this. And this should already update the context and the data managed there, and therefore also the user interface. So if I enter some valid data here so that the login button gets enabled, you see that changed here in the navigation. Now, of course, it would also be nice to then redirect the user, though. It would be nice to then leave this page. And a very elegant way of doing that is that we go to the app.js file where we set up all the routes, and we simply set up different routes for the logged in and the not logged in state. And we set up different redirections as well, which makes sure that when the state switches, we get redirected. So for that here in app.js, I will add a new variable, routes. And now we can check if is logged in, which is a state we're managing in app.js, if that is true. If it is true, I'll set routes to a specific set of routes. If it is not true, so in the else case, routes will be a different set of routes. So let's maybe start with the routes that are relevant if we're not logged in, so in the else block. There, I want to bring my root route. So let's copy that here. And I also want to bring my user ID places route, because we can view places of a user even if we are not logged in. And we're already getting an error here. Multiple root level JSX elements next to each other, never a great idea. So let's use React Fragment to wrap them. And let's continue adding routes now. So we have the root route, we have user ID places. I don't want to have the new place route. I don't want to have the update place route. I absolutely want the auth route. So we'll add that as well, because we should be able to reach the auth page if we are not authenticated. And I will also add a redirection here, where we should always be redirected to /auth, actually, as a default maybe. So that if we are on any route which is not handled before, we are redirected to /auth. Now let's copy that setup here and use it in the logged in case here. Here the routes will be different. I do have that users and the user places route. I don't have the auth route though. We shouldn't be able to go to the auth page. Instead, we need the routes for a new place and for updating a place. So let's copy that. And for redirecting, we also need a different logic. If we are authenticated, I want to redirect to the starting page, let's say, for invalid routes we are on. Now with that, we can go down, and here in switch, we can replace the routes we have there with the value in our routes variable. Now let's see if that works. If we save that, this reloads. I'm on the auth page. I can go to all users and to the places of users. If I click here on edit, I don't go to the update route though, because we haven't defined this in the unauthenticated state, which is good. We'll of course make sure that this button doesn't even exist in a second. So on authenticate, if I now do log in, I am redirected thereafter, and I can go to add place. Could not find place. That's interesting. We should take care about that. And I can go to my places and to the update place page, and that's all working. Now, what's causing this could not find place thing here? Let's have a look. And the problem probably is that I have this route here, where I look for a place ID, and as I said, new is interpreted as such. And actually, the switch statement is not working correctly here. I do enter it all into a switch statement, but the React fragment in between seems to destroy things. It's not a problem though. We can just replace React fragment with switch here in both route setups. And then down there where I enter my routes, I just get rid of the switch statement because it's now part of the routes variable already. With that, this reloads, and we should be able to now go to new place to add place without that warning. Yeah, so that is all working. This also still works here. And now let's make sure we also render a logout button, which allows us to log out, and we don't render these two buttons if we are not logged in. Here I am logged in, but if we're not logged in, I don't want to render them. Side note, later we'll also make sure that we only see them if we are the user who created this. For the moment, we can ignore that. So as before, definitely feel free to add that logout button on your own, and to make sure that you also get rid of these buttons here if we're not logged in the next lecture, we'll again do it together.